Hello and welcome everybody to the presentation by CLIA. Charles Sylvia is here with us. He is our special guest today. For those of you who have never met Charles, he is the VP of Trade Relations for CLIA, and he's a superb speaker. So we're really lucky to have him here with us. He is going to be also giving away a couple CLIA memberships. Those are going to be individual agent CLIA memberships for 2025, which is also very exciting. We will do that giveaway at the end of today's session through our wheel of names. So all of you that stay throughout the entire presentation, please hang tight at the end so that we can do our exciting giveaway. If you have questions while Charles is doing his presentations, please note them in the chat, and we will have time for a Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. And Charles, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, Karen, thank you so much for the great opportunity, and thank you and the leadership of 1000 Mile Travel Group. It's my privilege to be here. And to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being on the call. Today, our presentation, we switched up a little bit, and I apologize for that, but we will be doing our social media, how to promote group cruises on Facebook later in the year. So please stay tuned for that. But today is really a great webinar. It's about becoming the cruise person in your community. And I've got a short story to share with you, and then some really practical tips to help you really become synonymous with cruise travel in your area, in your market, whether it's your local community or whether you market all across the country. We want to make sure that the people who are your marketplace, whether it's live and in person or virtual, that you become synonymous with cruise travel. And when they see something in reference to cruise, they don't think about a particular line or a particular destination. They're thinking about you. When they hear the word cruise, we want them to think about you so that they take the action of contacting you and they book every one of their cruises through you. So as Karen mentioned, my name is Charles Sylvia, and I am Vice President of Trade Relations with CLIA. For those of you who may be new to the industry, CLIA is Cruise Lines International Association. We are the worldwide cruise industry trade association headquartered in Washington, D.C., and we have 17 regions around the world. So CLIA represents 95% of the world's cruise lines, as well as all of our executive partners and ports and destinations and shipyards and all the companies that help round out the cruise experience. And we also represent all of you. My team is the North American Travel Trade Membership Team here in the United States and Canada, and we are 65,000 travel advisors strong. That makes the CLIA North American Travel Trade Membership the largest travel trade organization in the world. So if you are already a member of CLIA, thank you for your support, and it is a privilege to serve you. And if you have yet to join, we want you to come aboard because we've got a lot of valuable benefits to offer you, and we can help you grow your cruise sales exponentially. And that's really what my team and I are dedicated to, that end of helping you achieve your maximum cruise sales potential. I want you to always be able to reach me, so please take down my email address. And if you're on social media, which I'm sure you are, please give me a follow on Facebook or Instagram or any of the platforms. My handle is the same. All you got to do is scan it right there. And I don't do that for personal reasons, for self-indulgent reasons. I ask you to follow me because I'm always putting great tips on sales tips, quite frankly, and tips that will help you further differentiate yourself as an expert in cruise travel. So without further ado, I'd also like to thank, many of you may not realize that 1000 Mile Travel Group is a CLIA Premier member. And what does that mean, right? So within the 65,000 CLIA members, right, we choose 30 companies every year to invite by invitation only to be a CLIA Premier member. It is our most elite membership level. It's our highest membership level, and it's reserved strictly for the most influential and prominent sellers and marketers of cruise travel in North America. So it's something to be a CLIA Premier member, and I'm so privileged to have 1,000 Mile Travel Group. And it also means that you get a few benefits more, in fact, some substantial benefits more, and we can talk about that a little later, because of your agency's Premier status. So I'd like to share with you all a story. And this was back in 1994, 30 years ago. A young cruise enthusiast, someone who had been cruising since he was 10 years old and was then in his early 20s, interviewed, saw an ad in the paper. Remember when remember when the newspapers actually had wanted ads, help wanted ads? Saw an ad in the paper and interviewed to become a travel advisor. Now, the help wanted ad described someone who would elevate the role of travel advisor. And actually, of course, the help wanted ad said travel agent back then, right? And help the agency corner the cruise market. Now, Karen, I want you to hold on to your hat because this is what happens 300 cruises ago. That's right, folks. That agent was me. And we're rewinding the history books, so we're going back in the history books 30 years to Monday, September 12th, 1994. That is the day that I became a travel advisor. And when I went to interview for the job, the agency owner, I grew up in a small town near Cape Cod, Massachusetts, directly north of Martha's Vineyard, a little town called Fairhaven. And in Fairhaven, Massachusetts, there were three travel agencies back then, three brick and mortar travel agencies back then. So I pedaled my bike and I went and applied for this job. And the agency owner said to me, he said, "You know what, Charlie, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to create a local celebrity. I want someone who isn't just going to be a travel agent or nowadays travel advisor. I want someone who will be a cruise travel expert, someone who, you know, the community, the local media, and local groups can turn to as an authority on everything having to do with cruise. And we're going to get you credentials, and we're going to help build your credibility. We're going to make you legitimate so that your name is synonymous with cruise travel." And again, he really harped on this particular point. You are going to be a turn-to resource for the local media. And I'm not talking, we were in Massachusetts, right? So I'm not talking about the Boston Globe and, WBZ TV in Boston. I'm talking about the local paper, the Penny Saver. And what we had was the Fairhaven Advocate was a small local newspaper, and our local radio stations and our cable access channels and so forth. He said, we are going to lean heavily on earned media attention, getting in front of the camera, getting on the microphone, getting in print, so that people see our name, see the name of the agency, and see your name, Charlie, everywhere, so that you become synonymous with cruise. And what we're going to do is we're going to leverage all of that and corner the market on cruising in our area. And Steve was a scruffy guy. When I first met him, I walked into the travel agency and he was there in flip flops or sandals and cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. And he was all scruffy and kind of long haired and with a beard. He reminded me of Steve Jobs. And you know what? He had that same vision as Steve Jobs. He told me that cruising was the fastest growing category of leisure travel in existence in 1994. And guess what, folks? Except for the past couple of years that we went through in the early 2020s, cruise travel has been and continues to be the fastest growing category of leisure travel in the world, in existence. And I'm going to show you some stats on how fast we still are growing. So it was all about cornering the market on a product that was easy to sell, easy to market, and that would leave our guests, our clients, with the highest guest satisfaction index and create an annuity, meaning they come back, they book again if they haven't already booked aboard the ship and credited the booking to our agency. So that's what the plan was with Steve. And so on my first day, he took this big box. It was a big cardboard box, white box. I'll never forget it. And he dropped it on my desk. And he said, "You know what, Charlie, you're going to be the CLIA poster child." And I said, "CLIA, what the hell is CLIA? I mean, what the heck is CLIA?" I didn't know what CLIA was. I hadn't been a travel agent yet. And he said, well, he explained to me, CLIA is the Worldwide Cruise Industry Trade Association. We're going to sign you up as a member, and we're going to lean on CLIA as for your credibility. We will get you certified. We're going to have you take the courses. And back then, folks, believe me, this was long before the internet. Back then, it was getting a logbook in the mail from CLIA and doing correspondence courses and then making sure everything was correct and mailing the logbook back to CLIA and getting all your courses signed up. It was no easy um, uh, taking on take. It was quite something. Nowadays, it's so much simpler. And that big box inside, when I opened it up, it was filled with Hawaiian leis and stickers, that said there's nothing like taking a cruise, and T-shirts and balloons and posters and all sorts of really fun paraphernalia. And then at the very bottom of the box was our certificate as an agency, as being a CLIA member, and the sticker that we would put in the door. But then at the very bottom was a 2-inch thick book. And, I see that my friend David Petlin's on the call. But and he knows me well, and he knows what a geek I am. That book, that thick book, was every single piece of data, every trend, every measurement, every business analytic, all the factoids, all the fun stuff, all the forms, everything about the global cruise industry. It was basically like the state of the cruise industry, and it had so many resources in it, the bottom of the book. Well, of course, nobody gets a box anymore, right? Because that box, that book is the website. That is cruising.org today, right? Well, back then we had that, and that's what I had to work with. He said, we're going to get you CLIA certified. You're going to become an expert, and then we're going to put the CLIA logo everywhere your name is. So it was on my business cards. It was on our promotional flyer, our pamphlets. Everywhere we put the CLIA logo. And Steve would kill me if he saw me handing a business card out. I would hand a business card out to a client, and I had better well say to that client, oh, and by the way, see that little logo right there? That's the Worldwide Cruise Industry Trade Association. And those letters at the end of my name, I worked very hard for that. That's them certifying me as an expert in cruise travel. It would be a privilege to earn your business, or I'd love to, it'd be an honor to serve you. However you wish to say it, 10 seconds or less, we pitched not only why they should work with the agency, why they should work with me as an individual, but what differentiated me as a travel advisor. Here's a number, and if you would, I would respectfully ask you if you could jot this number down: 165,000. I would put that number 165,000 on a post-it note, put it on your computer or somewhere you see it every day. That number, 165,000, that's how many travel advisors there are in the United States and Canada. Full-time, part-time, and independent contractor. So you should always be looking at that number. And I think someone just needs to mute their microphone, please. Please look at that number every day and remind yourself that every single person with whom you come in contact, every prospect, every client, every repeat client, they need to be reinforced with why they should do business with you. Steve always said to me, he said, all of our clients listen to the same radio station, Charlie. And the first time I said, what one is that? He says, WIIFM. What's in it for me? And I know you've all heard that term. What's in it for me, right? WIIFM. And it's true. He said, we have to have competitive differentiation. We have to have a competitive edge so that they turn to us. He told me, Charlie, every single person who walks through the door, every single person who calls you, those folks are also talking to Seabreeze Travel a quarter mile down the road, and they're talking to AAA was the other agency in town. And he was right. Of course, nowadays, we're all at home. For the most part, most of us are at home. And they are easily talking to 2, if not 3 other travel advisors, and they're looking online besides talking with you. So what's in it for them? Why should they work directly with you? It can't just be about passion. It can't just be about how much you love cruising. It has to be credentials. What do the kids say? Street cred, right? CLIA gives you that legitimacy, and you can lean on CLIA as your good housekeeping seal of approval. I sent my friend Michelle down the road to Seabreeze Travel. She went in, she went to reception. She was my secret shopper. She went to reception, said she was interested in a Royal Caribbean cruise, because back then they only had 6 ships. Anyway, and she got everyone's business card, and she took a couple of brochures, and she said, well, she wasn't really ready to talk to an advisor yet, but she brought me back those business cards, and not one of those advisors had their CLIA certification at the end of their name. Not one. And I knew that 3 out of the 6 were CLIA certified. I knew that. I saw them in the directory, but they didn't put they worked so hard to achieve a certification, especially back then with all the mailing back and forth. They worked so hard to achieve a certification, and then they didn't even bother to put the letters at the end of their name. Heck, the letters, my elite cruise counselor status, that comma space ECC, that will be everywhere my name is displayed, right up until and not including my tombstone. I'll tell you what, I won't put it there, but it's going to be everywhere with me from here to that point. It is my good housekeeping seal of approval, and it's why I deserve, why I'm worthy of my client's business. I also, Steve also said to me, he said, you're going to be our local industry spokesperson. We're not going to wait for the phone to ring. We're not going to wait for people to come through the door. Of course, now for leads to come in through email or phone or through social, you're going to hit the road. You're going to be the evangelist for the cruise industry. You will talk about the industry trends. And you know what I did? I took that book and I brought it down to PIP. And many of you won't remember PIP, but it was Postal Instant Press. And I had the state of the cruise industry, all the latest trends. I had those sheets turned into transparencies, and I went to the local Rotary Club and I gave a presentation at 7:30 in the morning on a Friday. One of my friend's fathers was the president of the Rotary Club, and I asked him if they ever had a guest, if they ever were interested in guest speakers, and he said, "You bet." His father said, "Yeah, come on down. I pitched him on talking about the popularity and incredible growth of cruise travel." He said, "Yes, we always are looking for new guest speakers." So I went down there and I did. I turned the book into now it's so easy. Heck, we provide you with a PDF of the state of the cruise industry every year. You can pick out what slides you want to show. You can present a PDF on PowerPoint. There's so many things that you can do. What did that do? That helped me meet Mr. Oh my God. His first name was Christoph. I can't remember his last name. He was the president of our local bank, our local savings bank. And he eventually bought a $27,000 Seabourn cruise from me. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot his last name. But anyway, here I am, a kid in my early 20s, selling a $27,000 Seabourn cruise. I mean, that was a lot of money back then. Still a good amount of money, but it was a lot of money 30 years ago. Uh, and that spoke to exactly what Steve said about selling outside of my wallet. It gave us a competitive edge. When I hit the road, I spoke to the Rotary Club. I spoke to the Elks. We did a giveaway, a charity benefit giveaway for the Lions Club. Just so many different organizations. I talked to alumni associations for our local university. I would speak to anyone who would have me about the industry, and we always left with my little brochure with my business card. I never gave it out before because you want them to listen to you when you speak, but we'd always leave that behind, and I would get calls all the time. Think about how archaic all of that was, right? Back 30 years ago. And now think of all of the incredible resources that you have at your fingertips in the present day, right? But we did it. Even back then, we did it. And I became that cruise person. I earned my first certification, ACC back then. Accredited Cruise Counselor was the first one. Now we have CCC, which is for part-timers and people who have yet to, and for students, we have CCC. But the first one back then was ACC, Accredited Cruise Counselor. I earned that certification. I mean, look at that CLIA logo back then. What is that? That's some King Neptune or something like that. He's got a little pitchfork. Very, very comical looking CLIA logo back in 1994. But regardless, I earned that. I earned my certification. You know what we did? We issued a press release, Steve and I. We faxed. Remember faxes? We faxed a story. The CLIA certification came with a press release template, and so we filled in all of our information and we faxed it to the local newspaper, to the Fairhaven Advocate and to the New Bedford Standard Times. And we provided them with a photograph of me. 2 weeks later, my mother called me up and said, "Hey, your picture's in the paper." And I was there with the attorney and with the accountant and with the insurance professional in the business makers section. And it said, Cruise Lines International Association has conferred upon Charles Sylvia the industry certification of accredited cruise counselor, blah, blah, blah. And it talked about everything I had to do to achieve that. It was a great little blurb, and that brought in business. Every time there was a brand new ship that was debuted, if I really liked that ship, I held group space on the ship, and I focused on groups. That was Steve challenged me. He said, "Charlie, every time you book an FIT, every time you book an individual stateroom for a couple or family, what have you, I want you to say this." And so I would say, at the end of the pitch, or once we had secured the cruise with the deposit, I would simply say, "Surely there's someone you want to enjoy this cruise with, someone that you want to experience this with, but you probably don't want to deal with all of the questions and all of the details. Well, I offer a concierge service. I call it my Charlie's concierge service. And if you simply make a soft introduction, I will gladly help them book their cruise. I handle all the details, all of the questions, and all you'll have to do is look forward to enjoying your cruise vacation with that loved one." Boom. I would say that every single time, and it would immediately, you'd see their shoulders lift. You'd see them become so much more relaxed because they do want to experience the cruise with someone else, but they don't want to deal with the hassle of all of the paperwork and all the questions and the details. Well, I provided a concierge service right up front. Take away that objection. And so that was the challenge that Steve, the gauntlet that he put down to me. He threw down the gauntlet and he said, "Charlie, I challenge you to turn as many individual bookings into groups as you can." And I did. And every time there was a new ship that I was jazzed about, probably 3 or 4 or 5 times a year, I would take out group space, and you can see the billboard right there, "Cruise with me." And that was our second annual voyage. This was a cruise from Boston to Bermuda and then down to the Caribbean, ending up in San Juan. I think that was Vision of the Seas back in 96 or 97, if I recall correctly, maybe 98. But that I would use those maiden voyages, and nowadays we don't have inaugural sailings, right? We don't have maiden voyages anymore. The cruise lines are super smart. They have inaugural seasons and inaugural years so that they can leverage the ship being new as an exciting thing. Well, you can have your own inaugural sailing of any ship. Icon of the Seas has been in service since January. You could take out group space and have your own inaugural sailing of Icon of the Seas and book your own clients in it and promote it as such, because that is the first time you will have sailed on that ship, that brand new ship in its inaugural year. That's just an example of many of the creative things that we did to promote myself and my agency and really develop a community of followers. And it got to the point, folks, where I would go to the grocery store for my grandmother on a Sunday, and people would come up to me and say, "Hey, I know you. You're that cruise guy, aren't you?" They may not have remembered my name per se, but they knew my face. And it doesn't hurt if you wear a T-shirt that promotes your business. I know that you already know this, but they'd come up to me, they'd recognize me from seeing my headshot. Make sure your headshot is consistent and professional. It can be, there are experts to advise you on headshots, but it's got to be the same shot every single time. If it's the same shot every single time, it drills its way into people's minds. So, and I'd say yes. They pull me aside and say, "Hey, do you have cruises to Bermuda or to the Caribbean, what, Alaska, whatever?" And I would get these conversations going. I'd always have my business card. I'd always do the pitch about why they should do business with me and what's in it for them. and that I knew what I was taking care of. One of the greatest lines that I would say whenever anyone, of course, back then they don't do it as much as they do now. When someone would ask me, well, why should I book through a travel advisor? I would simply say, well, it's fair to say that even the best laid plans don't always go according to plan, right? And you get the yes, you get the head nod. Yes, yes, right, that's right. Well, here's the thing. When something does go wrong, I can sort out the problem in a fraction of the amount of time that it will take you to even find the right phone number to dial. Boom. That is a powerful statement. Just that statement. I would say that I've said that 1,000 times in my life. And just that, it creates a visual. They can picture themselves having a problem, and they can picture me solving that problem for them in a fraction of the amount of time. And they can also picture themselves, nervously and with anxiety looking for the right phone number to call. And that's where the keel meets the water, folks. I have the connections, I have the relationships, I have the know-how and the expertise to get things done exponentially faster than you can. So that's really what it's all about. And I would also explain to them that booking with me, my bookings are much more important than an individual consumer's booking. And I would say that, folks. I would actually say that. I said to the cruise line, when one of my clients needs something, my client is more important because I do X amount of dollars for that cruise line every year. And my agency, and I would talk about my agency, and not just my agency, but my consortium. I would say I knew the sales numbers every single year. I knew the sales numbers. And I would say, and my agency did $3 million for Royal Caribbean last year. And our broader network did 50 million. Boom. It's true. It resonates. They realize the influence and the ability that you have when you have that kind of clout, and they want that for themselves. They want you to be their champion. So it all starts with becoming part of CLIA, and we are wrapping up the 2024 membership year very soon. So if you're already a 2024 member, thank you for being a member. It's a privilege to have you as a member. And if you're not yet, well, you might not want to join just yet. You might want to wait until November when we open for 2025, but that will take you to the page. This QR code will take you to the page where you can learn more about our membership, and you can choose to either join in 2024. You can certainly recoup your dues investment easily in 2024 still. There's still plenty of the year left. And if you want to wait for 2025, that's fine too. But that QR code will take you to where all the information is on all of our member benefits, as well as how easy it is to join. Of course, travel agency membership would probably not be the category you'd look at. You'd probably look at individual agent membership as an advisor affiliated with 1,000 Mile Travel Group. Oh, and again, because of their elite status as a premier member, you're going to get a $50 discount off our regular dues. $50 discount. That's more than 42% off of our regular dues cost. And then once you're a member, if you're already a member of CLIA, I always say that becoming a member of CLIA is like walking the gangway, right? And getting aboard. That's how you get aboard with CLIA every single year. You become a member. But if you become a member and then take yourself to the next level by becoming CLIA certified. Now, a lot of people think that just being a member of CLIA is being certified. No, not at all. Not in the least bit. That's absolutely inaccurate. You become a member of CLIA, approved member by your agency, by 1,000 Mile Travel Group, and then you can decide whether to just enjoy the member benefits that exist, or to enjoy them and also become CLIA certified. And that's really, it helps you stand out. Every week, the cruise lines are 55 plus cruise lines around the world. They download our membership roster, and they want to see not only how many members we have and where you're located, but they also want to know who's certified and at what level. And it's no surprise to me that CLIA certified advisors tend to get invited to some really cool events, ship namings and things like that. It helps the cruise lines understand who's really taking professionalism and education seriously in their career. So when you get certified, the certification designation is by your name on our membership roster, and the cruise lines know that you're certified and they know what level. So it helps you stand out, helps you attract more prospects, because when you are listed on cruising.org with our agent finder. It's sorted. If a consumer goes in and puts in their zip code, they're going to see, say, 20-mile radius. They're going to see the CLIA certified travel advisors first, and then it goes by geography after that. So you'll attract more prospects. You'll earn free publicity if you follow some of the steps that Steve and I followed 30 years ago. You'll absolutely earn free publicity. Every time the local paper wanted to do a story about travel, or especially in the winter about cruise and the new destinations, and so I mean destinations, emerging destinations, and the latest cruise deals and stuff, you better believe they contacted me because I sent out that press release. Well, when you get CLIA certified, we still provide you with that press release template that you can send to your local media, and you create the relationships. You get to know the editors, and you get to know these people, and they turn to you. I was also on the radio a lot talking about cruising. And then, of course, that leads to more leads and more closed sales, and you'll sell more, and you'll get rewarded. So that QR code will take you to information about CLIA certification. If you're already a member, you can apply to be certified today. And if you're not already a member, feel free to join and get certified, because we'd love to have you. Oh, and remember when I talked about those two types of members, right? The one who joins just to take advantage of the member benefits, like the bonus commissions and the free online courses. You get 4 of those because of 1,000 Mile Travel Group's status. And then the certified one, the one that pursues certification. Well, the one that pursues certification, the member that pursues certification, sells 261% of the cruise travel volume of the non-certified CLIA member. 200, so that's more than 2.5%, folks. And that statistic's about 7 years old. We're going to run that again, and I bet you it's over 3, maybe 3.5 times the cruise sales volume. So there's no right or wrong. It's just that if you want to take your cruise sales to the next level, not only become a CLIA member, but get that certification and do some of the things, do some of the best practices that I've just shared. Because you know what? There's no better time. There's never been a better time to get involved deeply in this industry, in the cruise industry. Prosperity. Remember a couple of years ago, we talked about just getting in the black, and then we went from being in the black to being, modestly profitable and so forth. Well, guess what? In 2022, prosperity has returned. 2023, rather, prosperity returned. And 2024 is a record-breaking prosperous year for all of us in the cruise industry. We had a record-breaking wave season. The demand is sustained. It's historic. You see what some of the APDs are for these new ships coming on in service. Heck, Icon of the Seas, it's selling astronomically. Good for it. I mean, good for the travel advisors who are focusing on the new product. Uh, all of the brands are just going out. We're going out at what? I read a statistic internally the other day that showed that one of the ships was going out 130% occupancy. Incredible. Never seen those numbers. We have 11 new ships in 2024. That's $7.3 billion in investment, ladies and gentlemen, or more than 24,400 additional lower berths that need to be filled at every turnaround by you, by our travel advisor community. You are the most important distribution channel for the cruise industry. Absolutely, hands down, the most important distribution channel. More than 72% of all cruises worldwide every single year are sold by travel advisors. 72%, more than 72%. And then if we look 4 years down the road, within the next 4 years, we have 59 new ships coming online. Now, bear in mind, the cruise industry is just about 300 ships. We've got 59 more ships coming in the next 4 years. That's $41.8 billion worth of investment, or more than 131,700 more lower berths. That's net of the ships that we intend to recycle, ladies and gentlemen. So 131,700 new lower berths that we need you to fill at every turnaround. We're counting on you, and you can count on CLIA. My team and I are here to serve you, and it is our privilege to do so. Karen, how did that sound?
Sounded great to me, Charles. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
So
you,
we
everybody.
do We do have some questions
Sure.
in our chat, Charles, if you don't mind answering those, and then maybe we'll even let some people ask more questions if they have any for you. So the first question is from Debbie Hodges, and she would like to know, why do some of the cruise lines offer bonus commissions and then some don't?
Yeah, I love that question, Debbie, and I hope that you ask your BDM that same question for the cruise lines that don't, because that's some. So, um, most of our cruise lines do. That the good news is that the vast majority of our cruise lines do offer bonus commissions at both the travel agency level and the travel agency membership and individual agent membership. Some do not, and if you have a brand, Debbie, that is not represented, I would love for you to send me an email. I'm going to put my email address in the chat and let me know how disappointed you are if a brand is not represented, because I will take that email and I'll send it to whoever is the senior vice president of sales, because I serve that community as well.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Um, Judy would like to know, how do we apply for the 4 free courses because of the 1,000 Mile Travel Group affiliation?
Oh, yes. So you go in, you log on to your MyCLIA membership portal, which is at cruising.org. So you go to cruising.org, and then in the upper right-hand corner, you can log in using your email address and whatever password you sent. And then you come up. If you're a current member, even if you're not a current member, your profile will still show. But if you're a current member, your profile will show. It'll show you your personal ID number and that your membership is good through December 31st of 2024. And you just simply go to professional development and go to our course catalog, and it shows you which ones, a certain number of our overall course catalog is available for you to choose 4 free courses every year.
And
And when you renew for 2025, you'll get a crack at 4 additional courses. Those courses, by the way, are worth $29 a piece. So membership is what, $79 after the discount. The standard membership dues is $129. After the 1,000 Mile Travel Group discount of $50, it's $79. So you get $29 courses times 4, which is what, $116 for free.
so you get 4 free courses just for being a CLIA member. And CLIA
Correct.
memberships are discounted because of the affiliation with 1,000 Mile Travel Group. So that would just be a $79 membership for the year. And then as part of that, you get the 4 free courses.
Exactly right. And that year is a calendar year. So we do, we're in July. But I will tell you that, if you're definitely serious about growing your cruise business, you may as well join for 2024, because you'll get those courses, which will pay you more than pay you back for your $79 investment. Plus, you'll get some bonus commissions, many of which are applicable to all open sailings. So even though you sell the cruise in 24, I think more than 2/3 of our bonus commissions can be applied to sailings even in 25.
Great. Judy would like to know, do you expect more cruise lines to pay commission on NCFs?
That's a trend that I've been seeing lately that I'm loving, because as a travel advisor myself, and I still have a handful of clients, friends and family. Um, do I expect it? You're darn tootin'. It's a competitive business, right? And when we saw one brand first do it and eliminate NCFs, I mean, CLIA, just so that you know, from a high level, CLIA does not involve itself in the commercial relationships between our member categories. We're not allowed to, because it's illegal. It's antitrust. However, I'm a travel advisor and I serve travel advisors, and I do expect to see, because it's a competitive industry, isn't it, folks? And even if they build in to the fare, whatever funding resulted in the NCFs, I think it's in their best interest to reward their most valuable distribution channel.
Okay, David has a tip for the group. David, do you mind taking yourself off mute and sharing your tip with the group?
That's my friend.
Sure. I was saying here when I was doing my certification, so I'm at an MCC level, and when I did all of my certifications, I did mine over 2 years. and several of the certifications you need to take courses with. So I did 4 courses one year and then 4 courses the next year. So that way I didn't have to pay for any additional courses. I just took advantage of my 4 courses each year for all my courses I needed to get my MCC.
And that is such a valuable tip, David. And I share that with people who, you know, that is a great pro tip.
Thanks, David, for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Good to see you, David.
Karen Thackeray, she'd like to know if you have taken courses, how long are they good for to go towards that certification?
I believe the answer to that question, Karen, is 1 year. We go back as far as 1 year for anything that you've done to apply to your certification. Oh, and whenever any of you who may be applying for certification, whenever you are aboard ship, whether it be for a ship inspection or a personal cruise experience, please, please, please save your documentation, save your set sail pass, or especially with ship inspections, save whatever you have, because you can apply your personal cruise experiences and your ship inspection confirmations. So oftentimes we get an email proving that we're confirmed for a ship inspection. Save that stuff so that you can apply it toward your logbook.
Well, that's good to know. Debbie Hodges, did you want to share your tip with the group? Debbie?
I just, my tip is that as soon as you register for a certification, start going through and looking for everything, because it's a lot of work and you run up into the last date and you're trying to get everything submitted. So that's my tip.
That's valuable advice, Debbie. Yeah, and the average term is about 2 years. There's different terms based on the different levels of certification. I believe CCC is a year, and then all the rest are 2 years. But those 2 years, as we all know as travel advisors, go like that.
Well, I'm an ECC now, so it was a lot of work to get there.
Oh,
So
that's fantastic, Debbie. So ECC folks, for those of you who may not know, that's our highest level, highest active level now, elite cruise counselor. We used to have an elite cruise counselor scholar level, ECCS, but it was so hard that only 18 people achieved it in like 10 years. So we got rid of it, and we might do a new one, but ECC is our highest. So I salute you, Debbie.
David Patlin, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have one more thing, just while we're talking about CLIA, is there are some cruise lines, and namely Celebrity right now, who is doing the Celebrity and CLIA cruise to sail into knowledge next year. I know, Charlie, you're not bringing this up, but I will bring this up. And if you have to be a CLIA certified member, a CLIA member, and working on a certification or certified, and sell one Celebrity cruise, and you get to go on a cruise with Katina and Charlie next year in February. I am signed up for it. It'll be my 4th year going for it. And I have to say that my first time on it, going onto it, I had sold 1 Celebrity cruise before getting onto it, maybe 2. This year now, Celebrity is trending to be my highest selling cruise line at almost $200,000 in Celebrity cruises, because of my training and relationship with CLIA and Celebrity from doing these seminars. So I highly encourage you guys to look into that. And you can always reach out to me if you need any information on the Celebrity CLIA cruise, because it is a huge, huge, huge training opportunity. And being CLIA certified or working on your certification is required to go on that trip.
Thank you for that, David. And that's an event that we look forward to every single year. It started with Dondra Ritzenthaler. We did it with Dondra for 2 years, and we're coming up on, as David said, the 4th annual. And I think we renamed it, if I'm not mistaken. It used to be Journey Together. Now it's called Excel. It's based on the new ship, but we're coming together, and we're going to excel at cruise sales with Celebrity Cruises in February. So we hope you can make it.
Awesome. Natalie
Thank you,
Holland,
Elise.
before we go into our prize giveaway, we have one more question from Natalie. She just would like to know, what are the main reasons that some cruise lines are not CLIA. Do not know if names should be mentioned. I'm
Well,
imagining that there's
there are.
certain ones.
No, and it's not a sore subject with me at all because some brands, and very few, because we do have 95% of the world's cruise capacity, 95% of the world's cruise lines are CLIA members. So it's not a sore subject. But I will tell you that there is one major brand that is not a member of CLIA, and I can tell you that when they have, we have it on pretty good authority that one day they will be. And that's not to, I'm not trying to be vague there, but when the torch has been passed, they will be joining CLIA. We know that for a fact. But it's really, it's not just about the travel trade, right? The relationship with the travel trade. CLIA also provides its cruise line members with tremendous support and championing. We unify the voice of the cruise industry. There are more than 140 there are more than 140 countries. I think it's 144 countries where cruising occurs worldwide. Out of approximately 195, 196 countries in the world, cruising occurs in 144 of them. And those governments do not want to speak with an individual brand. They do not want to speak with XYZ Cruise Line. They want to speak with the global trade organization for the cruise industry that represents all the brands when they're talking about government relations and public affairs and working with governments at the municipal, provincial, the state level, the federal level, working with all of these governments around the world. And that's where CLIA comes into play. We also have the compendium of maritime policies that all of our members have to subscribe to. And we represent our compendium of maritime policies to the International Maritime Organization, the IMO, in London. So CLIA not only educates and creates the most professional, most highly skilled travel trade membership in the world, focused on selling cruises, but we also represent safety, security, health, sustainability, workforce development, port and destination management. All of these aspects are what my colleagues and I work on at every level of government. So really, it is a compelling argument for, or compelling case for a cruise line to be a CLIA member. And quite frankly, that's a question that I have hard time answering why they wouldn't be.
Okay, that's a great answer to that question. All right, so
Thank you.
now we're going to just go ahead. We'll do our little giveaway before we finish up. And I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel for that first individual membership for 2025.
And please take down my email address because we're going to need you to write to me in November and we'll get you signed up. Or maybe Karen, you can take down their names and just make
Oh,
a
yeah,
note in November.
I will share it with you. All right,
Perfect.
we've got Wendy Rozak. She won the first CLIA membership. Congratulations, Wendy.
Congratulations, Wendy.
And then we'll go ahead and give away that second membership. Kirsten Billhart, it looks like. Kirsten,
All right.
congratulations. Okay, well, thank you so much. Congratulations to Kirsten and Wendy.
Congratulations,
And
Kirsten.
thank you, Charles, for being here today. We really appreciate you. And we're looking forward to that next webinar in October on social media.
Thank you again, Karen. And thanks everybody for being on the call. And just thrilled to be here. And if there's anything you ever need, we're happy to help.
Thanks. Thanks for being here.
Bye, everyone.
You.